Cannon Mead, our 4 seed. Cannon, the brother of Forrest Mead, from the Star City Games buyer.
Now, we saw him get crushed earlier today.
We did.
Now, Cannon is my last horse playing Junk Reanimator. It's, to be fair, there is 2 players in this topic that I'd be happy to see win.
Yep.
But one of them is Cannon, and I'm hoping that he is able to pilot flawlessly with this deck and give us our 4th Junk Reanimator repeat, which would give us what? Our, 7 out of 9 major events in the last month.
Some ridiculous amount of tournaments won with this deck. As we are underway here in the quarterfinals, we do see Cannon. He is going to play an Overgrown Tomb Pass, and you do see a Woodland Cemetery here. Taylor has opened up on a Godless Shrine. You'll see what he's going to follow this up with here. You do see a couple lands in his hand. He is going to play a Plains, and we are going to see a Skirtstag High Priest.
Now, there was no champion or Doom Traveler on the first turns, but if Taylor is able to find a Doom Traveler along with a Cartel Aristocrat, there's going to be a 5/5 on the board by next turn.
So we see a Grizzly Salvage here on Taylor's end step. Mulch, Overgrown Tomb, Sunpetal Grove, Loxodon Smiter, and Angel Serenity are the cards that are revealed to that. You do see Taylor writing down that Sunpetal Grove, making sure that he does not forget that's in the hand.
One thing I have to say is both these players seem very alert. They're just swiftly going through these first early development turns. That was one of the fastest Grizzly Salvages I've seen result in a long time.
And we are going to see Cannon here play that Sunpetal Grove, and he's going to follow that up with a Loxodon Smiter. Smiter, a card that we don't see a ton of in the Junk Reanimator deck list.
No, not many in game 1s, but it is a powerful spell. And when a lot of these decks are starting to fight, I think it was a good Centaur Healer slot for earlier in the season, but right now it seems like a Smiter slot. Just because everyone's hating this deck out, you need to be able to transition.
You need to be able to win against those Rest in Peace and all those other guys, and Smiter is a big beater.
Points add up, and extra damage is extra damage.
And we saw John Cuvier have a lot of successes. We're going to see a Silverblade Paladin here. We'll see if he's going to choose to soulbound up with that Skirtstag High Priest, and it doesn't look like it. And we saw John Cuvier have a lot of success with Rakdos Return in sideboarding games against Junk Reanimator, and Loxodon Smiter is one way to certainly one-up that strategy.
Yeah. All right, so even with Grizzly Salvaging for a land, Cannon has not drawn another way to produce mana. We do see a Lingering Souls, but that is all he's going to be able to muster, and the Lingering Souls is not a card that is that great when your opponent has a High Priest.
Yeah. So we are going to see Lingering Souls token, Jerry T in the house. We'll see if those do stay there or not. Might get some Real Spirit tokens out there, but we'll see how our table spotter is feeling today. As we do see Taylor, he does untap, he does draw a card, looking for red mana, and looks like he does have a Sacred Founder in his hand. The question is, does he have any action besides that? His hand does look a little bit land heavy.
One player's drawn all the lands, another has drawn none of them. And usually in situations like this, if the player that has flooded cannot capitalize on the player that's screwed, the one that doesn't have the lands will eventually draw out and start casting very powerful spells. And as you can see, if we draw 2 more lands for the Junk Reanimator, that's Angel Serenity. Draw another land, that's Theritos and Restoration Angels.
So we do have our Spirit tokens here, and you see Taylor really taking his time here, giving his turn a lot of thought. Is, the thing that he does want to do, of course, is he wants to get that Skirtstag High Priest active. He wants to start pumping out some 5/5 demons, and he's certainly taking his time and crafting a game plan to see how he can go about doing that. Because, of course, the Aristocrats does have a healthy amount of sacrifice outlets in Falcon Wrath and Cartel Aristocrat.
All right, well, there's the Doom Traveler. If we have a Cartel Aristocrat this turn, we have a 5/5. Also, if he pairs and he attacks, it's very difficult for Cannon to block this because any creature, another High Priest, a Champion, another Doom Traveler, does also net a 5/5.
So you do see Taylor moving some cards around his hand. One card that you do see in his hand is an Orzhov Charm, something that he can use to kill one of his own creatures to be able to trigger that.
Well, he can kill his
Doom
opponents
Traveler
as well.
Yeah.
He can just kill off that Loxodon Smiter, and make that. And I feel like that's something he's going to do next turn. Because if Cannon wants to attack with his whole team, he's going to be able to kill that Smiter, put a demon into the air, and block one of those Spirit tokens. And again, Cannon has missed a land drop.
See, Cannon has a bunch of Unburial Rights in his hand, a couple Thragtusk. You see Angel Serenity in there as well, but he's going to send in here with those Spirit tokens, and Taylor is going to let that damage come through.
All right, he's just going to let that happen. That surprises me. I feel like getting rid of tokens, I guess he's just not concerned since his opponent is going to be able to produce more of them. He's going to eventually get there.
And so we are going to see the flashback on Lingering Souls. So we'll have 2 more Spirits join the fray here for Cannon. And we'll see if Taylor is going to do anything with that Orzhov Charm to be able to make a 5/5 demon or not, or if he's going to keep hanging on to that and find a better spot for it.
I feel like if your opponent has missed on that land drop, you just want to start making those 5/5s, because now, once you attack with that 5/5, and I guess this is correctly played if we look, there are no Yeah, he doesn't have to play around Abrupt Decay, so being able to do this now lets him start attacking with the 5/5, and it's unblockable to cannon, or it produces another demon.
So we are going to see Orzhov Charm take care of that Loxodon Smiter.
The judge is just working overtime trying to find all these certain tokens.
See if he's able to find a demon. We'll bring Skirt Stack High Priest on the screen for you guys so you can see what this little 1/2 human can do. A card that, you did find a couple copies of in Tom Martell's deck list at that Pro Tour Top. You find 2 copies here in Taylor Roflowitz's deck as well. It's not, the best card we've ever seen, but when this thing can get active, it starts pumping out demons, and it's hard to catch back up to that.
Skirzad High Priest is one of the most polarizing Magic cards in Standard right now. It is either the worst card in your deck or the best one.
Yeah.
And it definitely depends on how ahead or behind you are on the board. So you see a Silverblade Paladin pair with a 5/5 demon. Don't want to pair with the High Priest, but anything that High Priest produces is definitely something to marry.
Yeah, you might want to pair up with that. As you do see a pairing here, you're going to see Silverblade Paladin and that come across. And as you said, Brad, if there are blocks that happen here, and you see Cannon is going to chump block that because it is a 5/5 double striker, this is when the snowball effect starts to happen. And all it takes is 1 with the High Priest. All it takes is 1.
But as you see, it's definitely capitalizing as the junk player is behind. Now, if that player drew a couple more lands, we would have seen a different story. Yeah, there would not be any demons in play. There would be a ton of humans tucked under an Angel of Serenity.
And all it takes with the Aristocrats really is, this deck that gets you in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, and that's exactly what Cannon ends right now because, if he doesn't block these things, he would have taken 14 damage that turn. Does he really want to go down to 2? And then, he's going to be put in the same situation of, I have to start blocking eventually, and here come more demons. So.
All right, well, he just finally drew a land. He can be defensive for 1 more turn, but is that going to be enough? Because 1 more turn of chumping adds more demons, and that Angel of Serenity is not going to be able to clean up the entire board. It's going to have to take care of demons and the High Priest because you cannot leave that thing linger around.
Now we see Roflowitz is going to play a Knight of Infamy here pre-combat. Maybe we'll see just a solo attack. Maybe not. We'll see what he plans on doing here, but he does want to establish that and at least give himself the option.
What that Knight of Infamy does is it allows him to be a creature for the tap for Skirzad High Priest and allows him to attack with the additional Silverblade Paladin.
Sure. So we're going to see the 2 demons come across. You're also going to see those 2 Silverblade Paladins come across. A lot of double strike going on here. That 1 face-down demon with the die on it does not have double strike, but you do see the other demon paired up with that Silverblade Paladin, so a lot of double strike action taking place.
Yeah, everything coming in does attack on the first strike as well as normal combat, so the Restoration Angel is going to have to come down. It does get to eat one of these Silverblade Paladins, which is nice.
So we are going to see Cannon asking, can I block? And Taylor says, absolutely, go for it, my friend.
Yeah, please block with everything. I want more demons.
And so we are going to see some blocks here. And Cannon really just hoping to draw that 5th land, as you said, for the Embarrass Rights on the Angel of Serenity, because that is one thing that can turn this game around. But we'll see some damage resolve. We'll see some things trade off here. The dust will settle. We'll see another 5/5 demon come in.
I don't know why my mind just went there, but I want to put a Pringles can on a High Priest, because once you pop, you just can't stop. That's all that happens. Demons just keep flowing onto the board over and over again. A land finally lets him start dealing with this board. Now, what he's probably going to do is he's going to take care of 2 of those demons and a High Priest. He might also have to take, instead of a demon, maybe take one of these Silverblade Paladins, since there are 5 of them, but or there are a lot of double strike. But we're probably going to have to try to get both of the pairings gone and that High Priest. We just can't let that exist.
So you see the High Priest get eaten right away, as you assumed.
And just remember, what is all double striked?
Well, now nothing, as he's broken up all of the double strike chains.
He did, just to make sure. All right, yeah, because he did kill the other Silverblade. Yep. All the chains are gone, and that leaves Taylor with not a big board position, but he does have an Orzhov Charm. The only problem with that is if he kills that, the Embarrass Rights can be flashback.
Sure. So he has to pick his spots on when he wants his Orzhov Charm here. As, of course, Angel of Serenity, when it dies, it puts the creatures back into the player's hands, not directly into play like a Fiend Hunter would.
So, yeah, even after Taylor had Bitter Blossom for Demons for the last 3 turns, he is still behind on this board.
Now, one card that can turn the game around a little bit here for Taylor, that is already in play, of course, is the Knight of Infamy. As you're going to see him play an Isolated Chapel here, as that does have protection from white, so he can slide past here and start, keep getting some damage through, get past the Angel of Serenity and that Spirit token.
Yeah, no, definitely something you want to have done. And there are no Restoration Angels in this list. There was one tricky one in the Aristocrats that Tom did win with, and there's no Blinking the Silverblade to pair with that Knight of Infamy to put him on a 2-turn clock.
Tricky card that Taylor does have in his deck list, though, are Zealous Conscripts. 2 of those are in his deck right now, as you're going to see him move towards his attack step and move in with that Knight of Infamy for 3 points of damage. So that card is available to him, and that is a card that can turn a game around at a moment's notice.
That would be a scary thing, but Cannon did draw his 6th land, not something that he needs too bad, but he has a Thragtusk to get back all that life. Now, the Orzhov Charm is not going to be lethal, because that would allow Taylor to attack for 6 in the air, but not enough with that Thragtusk, and then the Ancient Serenity would just hit play again.
So we see Taylor leaf through the cards in his hand yet again.
Yeah,
Cannon trying to make one heck of a comeback here.
All right, that is a Silverblade Paladin, so that would be able to let him pair with potentially the Demon to force the trade, or with the Knight of Infamy, and just try to fight through chump block Thragtusks.
Difficult to do when there are burial rights in the graveyard and in Cannon's hand. Of course, Taylor only knows about the one in the graveyard, but we see the one in his hand as well.
And no one said it was going to be easy.
Yeah. So again, Taylor, a very methodical player, trying to figure out what he wants to do here, try to get through this Angel Serenity, something that we've seen a lot of people have difficulty with over the past month. You do see him tapping the mana. Looks like he's going to pull the trigger on this Silverblade Paladin. But we'll see if he's going to pair up, what he wants to pair up with.
I'm going to go Doom Traveler. That guy just never lives. He's gonna let him live for a while.
And you see Taylor untaps his lands here, trying to figure out, do I want to play the Silverblade Paladin? What do I want to pair the Silverblade Paladin up with? Do I even want to cast this right now? Does it even have an effect on the game?
Quick rules question. If you pair with another Silverblade, do you get Triple Strike?
You do not get Triple Strike. It does not exist.
All right. So that's probably a better decision.
So he is going to pair up there with the Knight of Infamy. Again, that pairing is actually legal, as you're going to see Thragtusk jump in front of that Beast Token coming to play. Protection from white. The Soul Bond does not target.
One time. Thank you. Do not touch me, Judge. Don't mess with me. See, it even says to Cannon.
So we see a Brad Nelson Beast Token into play here.
Yeah. Come on. All right, sweet. They're going to let it live. I'm so happy right now.
We can tell, trust me.
It's like my birthday. But that was Eric's yesterday. For anyone that didn't know, I got birthday cake for a guy named Eric in my room. I run really good.
So we do see a Godless Shrine come into play. And now we are going to see Angel Serenity number 2 come in here to mop things up. So it's going to take care of those Silverblade Paladins and that Demon Token. That's not coming back. So you do see the power of Angel Serenity yet again.
Yeah, and now this should let him freely attack with at least 1 Angel Serenity. And because his opponent is on a 1-turn clock after this 5 damage, and that'll put him on a 1-turn clock, so we don't need to attack with the Spirit Token.
And so now we do see Taylor draw a card for the turn, and you can see just how far behind he is on the board. Not going to be able to come back, and he is going to concede the game. So Cannon Mead, after some slight mana troubles there, is able to draw out of it and does win game 1 with Junk Reanimator over Taylor Afowitz playing the Aristocrats.
Yeah, and so after sideboard, I want to take a look at Cannon's list. It's pretty unique. He's got the Loxodon Spiders and Lala Trolls, Obzidots, and a bunch of 1/1s.
And before we do finish that, we're going to go back to the booth because it is trivia time.
It is.
And so, of course, how we're going to do this here is we are going to ask you a question. And, of course, to interact with us, you're going to hashtag SCG Premium with your answer. Of course, it is about accuracy, not about speed. We will select one of the people who do get the answer right. And for this particular question, we'll be giving away 3 months of premium.
Do you have a good one? Because I got a good one.
If you have a good one, you may ask away.
I got a good one. All right. Next weekend, there's going to be a tournament called the Star City Games Invitational. Yeah. This tournament is 2 different formats. What 2 formats will be played in this tournament?
All right. If you can name the 2 formats that are being played at the Star City Games Invitational, hashtag SCG Premium with your answer. We'll again select one of the correct answers there. It is about accuracy, not speed. And after this match, we will give away those 3 months of premium. But now, back to the sideboard.
So back to sideboard. We also have Black Primordial, which is pretty interesting. Another Obsidot to go with the one in the main. But the most important cards that I think are going to come in this matchup are the 2 Tragic Slips and the 3 Abrupt Decays. One of the things that Aristocrats really likes to use is the ability, like the Morbid ability.
Sure.
Using High Priest Tragic Slips of their own, so you can use that against them to make sure things do end up dead. So I think those are the cards that are going to come in for Cannon. He's going to go hard on the Umbrella Reds because he knows that his opponent doesn't have, or does his opponent have any hate? It doesn't, not really.
I mean, you see 2 copies of Purify the Grave and Arachnos Charm.
Yeah, that is pretty tricky removal. The one thing I do also think is great for this matchup is there are no Arbor Elves, so the 2 Electricers that probably have beat up on Reanimator decks in the past aren't going to do as much. Just with 2 Lingering Souls and 4 Absence Pilgrims.
Yeah, Electrickery, a card that we've seen also against the the Naya Blitz decks, as it's very good at killing those Boros Elites, takes care of turn 1 Champion of the Parish, can also take care of, Experiment 1s, Lightning Maulers, all that good stuff. So that's a card that's starting to become, off the sidelines and playing more of a role in this format, and actually does have some uses in this matchup, as you did say. But for Taylor, you guys do see his sideboard on the screen. We're likely to see the Purify the Graves and the Rakdos Charm. Now, the other cards in the sideboard, your Mark of Mutinies, your Zealous Conscripts, to try to take the Angel Serenities in the air and maybe get through those last couple points of damage. Maybe Boros Charm to deal 4 points of damage, as we see he just needed a little extra oomph to get across the finish line that game as well. So we'll see what approach he wants to take. The thing about the Aristocrat sideboard is that it is so diverse in what it can do.
Oh yeah, the deck can manipulate itself in a bunch of different ways, and I think Cannon understands this, being prepared with a ton of removal in his deck, and I think all of it's going to come in just to make sure nothing gets out of control, because if you do keep the deck down a little bit by just making sure the Lingering Souls tokens don't get out of control, the Skurzad High Priests, even the Silverblade Paladins, the deck doesn't really function that well with just Cartel Aristocrat, and the Severed Blends will work really well against Falkenrath Aristocrat. The creature doesn't die by many things, but most of the removal that Cannon does have will take that Vampire down.
Alright, so we do see both players shuffling up here. Taylor will be on the play, and he's just looking for one of those more aggressive starts that the Aristocrats can get off to. Those starts are based around, Champion of the Parish into Cartel Aristocrat, maybe Silverblade Paladin involved as well. Now, there are certainly games that he can win with Scourge Stack High Priest. We almost just saw the last one there, but I think ideally if he had to draw one up, he wants to start the show with that 1/1 human that gets bigger every turn.
Yeah, I've seen that work well in a lot of strategies.
So hopefully we'll see it happen again here, as Taylor has not lost a match yet this week, and he is our 5 seed again. Cannon is our 4 seed. Players were able to draw into the top 8 a little bit earlier. 2 players that do know each other as well. Again, Cannon is one of our old buyers, Forrest Mead's brother, and Taylor in this area. Forrest, Taylor, Cannon, they all do know each other. They've played in PTQs here for many a year.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what happens when we go to areas. We see a lot of local players, especially somewhere like in Florida. When you go to Indianapolis, there's a ton of people, a lot of people from everywhere else, and you don't get to challenge your friend in the top 8.
Yeah. When we were down here in Florida, there's only so many people who are going to make the journey out here. You can only come, up from Miami and Fort Lauderdale, or come down and from Jacksonville, that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, no, I do like my friendly rivalries. Every time I'm back up in North Dakota, I love playing F&M just to face off against some of them.
Yeah. So we'll see if both players are going to be able to keep 7 cards. So you see Taylor just kind of thinking things through last game, just what went wrong. And, realistically, it's just that Cannon was actually able to just draw some lands, get out of that situation, needed to draw a 5th land on time for that Angel Serenity, which he did. And that actually ended up leading to the game win. But, if we're being realistic with each other, this is a deck that does have Mulch, Grizzly Salvage, all these mana producers, and, a bunch of lands as well. So, hitting 5 lands with this deck is certainly not difficult to do. And even though we saw Cannon stumble a little bit, he was able to draw out of it.
The land did show up a little fashionably late, but it did show a little excitement for us late tonight. And it's nice. There's a little lull. We had 30 minutes before the top 8. He had to spice it back up for us, get us ready for some emotional top 8 action.
Alrighty, Cannon, a player who is known to play very, very quickly, but we saw him playing a little bit more methodical pace this game. I think he realizes just how important it is to kind of slow down and assess the situation when you are in the top 8 of a tournament.
And a trophy is on the line.
Yeah, and maybe a little bragging rights too.
And playing far from behind.
Yeah.
Just having to make sure that your decisions are just spot on.
Yeah.
All right. So with Taylor on the play, yeah, he's going to want the more aggressive side of his deck. But the High Priests are also a really good card in this matchup if he gets that draw. There's many configurations of draws that he can get on the play that are very powerful. Either a human Silverblade Champion of the Parish draw, or even a Cartel Aristocrat Skurzad High Priest Doom Traveler. He just doesn't want too much of a mesh of them.
Yeah. So let's see what Taylor's able to craft. As you see, he is drawing those 7 cards, taking a look, Ski, and organize things, see what kind of lands he has, and it looks like he's happy.
Yeah, he had a game face there.
And we see a Blood Crypt, so no Champion of the Parish to start, as we're going to see Cannon start off with an Isolated Chapel. The one thing you do see, Brad, when people start off with those lands, it means maybe their draw's a little bit staggered with a lot of those lands and none of the dual lands.
Well, usually if you start with an Isolated Chapel, that almost guaranteed means that your opponent had a forest, or he's just a madman.
As we do see Cannon with the force and passes the turn back. Taylor untaps with that Knight of Infamy in play, so we'll see an attack for at least 3 points of damage, potentially 4 if he does have another one. But
And
it's just
potentially
going to be 3.
6 if you had a paladin.
We'll see Abrupt Decay take care of that, and following up with a Champion of the Parish. You're a little late, Champion.
Yeah. Another Abrupt Decay is going to help out for this control strategy that Cannon, I think, has sideboarded into. Lotla Troll doesn't want to come down yet. It's a little scary. He doesn't have a second black source or a creature he really wants to discard to it to protect himself from Treasure Slip, but it's not really going to target there. It's just a little bit too risky. The big turn right now is if Taylor has a Falconwrath Aristocrat. He does not, but he does have Silverblade Paladin, which he's pairing and attacking. He's like, if we want to trade, that's fine with me.
And we are going to see a trade take place. Lotsland Spider does hold down the fort and trade with the Champion of the Parish, so just a 2/2 Silverblade Paladin out there right now. We're going to see an Avacyn Pilgrim for Cannon, and again, a little bit of mana trouble.
Yeah, he has 2 angels stuck in his hand. I feel like, oh, that is the big problem right now. Cannon not only is behind on board, but that was a Falconwrath Aristocrat. Now, I feel like that should have been Abrupt Decay before the attack, playing a little bit fast, because that now gave Taylor a +1/+1 counter on his Falconwrath Aristocrat. He could have done that in response to the spell being on the stack. With 2 Angel Serenities, a Lotla Troll in hand, he's going to have to try to draw. Lingering Souls is going to help out.
So we do see Lingering Souls here. Tokens coming into play. You're going to see 4 of them, so that Aristocrat's going to have some trouble getting through now. As Taylor is going to untap, he'll draw, and we do see Zealous Conscripts in his hand as well, so we'll see exactly what he wants to formulate this turn.
Now, if you were Cannon, would you have played Lotla Troll in case you top deck an Unbarrow Rites for that Angel?
Potentially. I mean, Angel being just hard cast is certainly realistic, as we're going to see Zealous Conscripts here take that Spirit token, and he's going to come across here. You're going to see a double block. You're going to see him sacrifice that, and Conscript's going to come across.
All right, yeah, we saw that Spirit being stolen, but I feel like that was just a lucky Avacyn's Pilgrim not getting stolen there.
Maybe you should have taken that one there.
Yeah, it not only puts a counter on the Falconwrath Aristocrat, but denies Cannon a mana source when he was missing land drops.
Okay. You can certainly see an argument for that, as well as we do see Cannon does deploy a few threats there with a Lotla Troll and a Deathrite Shaman. Taylor, you see his hand here, you see a Silverblade Paladin, Cavern of Souls, and another copy of Zealous Conscripts in his hand.
Well, if you enjoy stealing things, we've got more things on the table for you.
Plenty of juicy targets here.
Yeah. The world is your oyster, Taylor, and you can have any of it.
Now, I know that last turn you wanted Taylor to maybe take that Avacyn's Pilgrim. This turn, you know, things have changed, a little bit of different development here. We know that Cannon does have those 2 Angel Serenities in his hand, no way to really get there. So, you know, if you do cast those Conscripts this turn, what are you taking if you're on Taylor's side, not knowing there's Angel Serenities over there?
Not knowing the information, if he has another land in his hand, I would probably take the Deathrite Shaman to remove the spell in the graveyard to shock Cannon for 2 and then attack and sacrifice that, so it's not a life source for him.
Okay. You know, there's certainly arguments to be made for taking a lot of the cards on the board. Avacyn's Pilgrim, maybe stunt that growth with no lands in the graveyard.
Even a Lotla Troll.
Yeah, Lotless Troll, so he can't discard cards. Maybe he would discard cards. Who knows? If you target that with Zealous Conscripts, it'll certainly make him think about discarding Angel Serenities. So there's a lot of options out here for Taylor right now. And I mean, we're not even talking about right now the Silverblade Paladin in his hand as well that maybe he just might want to cast, pair up with that Falconwrath Aristocrat and give the beatdowns with.
Oh yeah, no, I mean there's plenty of options. That's one of the big selling points to the Aristocrats, and a point to not play it. It was a tough deck to pilot for a lot of Team Star City games, and Tom Martell was just on his game that weekend and got there. So I think he paired with Zealous Conscripts, if we can get confirmation on that.
Yeah, I think there was a pairing with the Zealous Conscripts, so we'll have double strike. It'll basically put that Lotla Troll on lockdown, having to sit there and regenerate a bunch. And so you do see that. So you see Lotla Troll get in front of the double strike and Zealous Conscripts. You see the Aristocrat come across for 5, and you're going to see Taylor play a Cavern of Souls. We'll get confirmation on what that's naming as he does pass the turn back.
All right, so Cannon draws a 3rd Angel Serenity.
That's a lot of those.
Yeah, he's got about 21 mana symbols in his hand and no way to get them out. So it's going to be rough for him to get back in this without an Unbarrow Rites.
Well, one thing you also do have to keep in mind here for Cannon, you know, he does just pass the turn back. does have 3 cards in his hand. If you're Taylor, you have to consider, of course, Restoration Angel, maybe some sort of removal spell as well. So it's not just all cut and dry. Again, we're working with very good information here. And you do see another Falkenrath Aristocrat, the draw for Taylor this turn. And so Ken says that resolves, and now here come the Aristocrats, and here comes the Zealous Conscripts.
Yeah, no, I like a swing with everything.
And he's even considering the Silver Blade as well.
I mean, he lost the Silver Blade last game to a Restoration Angel, and I think he might be fearing that once again.
All right, but he does give it the green light, so everybody is into the red zone here, and now it is on Cannon. And one thing that I think Taylor's aware of right now, and probably considered, is how bad is Restoration Angel for him right now, and it's really not that bad, and you see Cannon doesn't even have one. So we are going to see some blocking take place here. A lot of this troll looks like it's going to get in front of that Silverblade Paladin. We're going to see maybe one of these Mana Accelerants on chump duty in front of that Zealous Conscripts.
Perfect blocks.
And we do see the blocks here right now, so if these are the blocks that take place, you can see Taylor make his move, sacrifice the Silverblade Paladin and the Zealous Conscripts on that Falkenrath Aristocrat that's gotten through, and that would be a lethal attack.
It would, except for the Deathrite Shaman.
True. So now you're going to see Cannon discard Angel Serenity, make that troll a little bit bigger. And he says, you know what, I got another one of these. I don't mind discarding that. Make my troll into a 4/3.
And this will allow it to take down the Silverblade. With that knowledge, Taylor should just discard the Silverblade Paladin and keep that Aristocrat alive. I would have did Taylor just pass priority allowing everything to happen?
We'll have to find out, as I don't know if we've moved on to first strike damage yet, because there are double strikers taking place here. And you see Deathrite Shaman. Looks like we're going to get Deathrite Shaman activation. That'll remove a Silverblade Paladin. So it looks like we're going to see what happens when the dust settles here. We'll get some updated life totals. Some things are going to move in and out of play here and over to the graveyard. And after that does happen.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. And we see him sacrifice that to that. And it looks like we are all good to go here.
All right, takes 5, Cannon's down to 4. And he needs an Umbero Rights right now. 2 Falkenrath Aristocrat.
Is it time? Does he have it?
I don't know.
Can he draw it?
If he draws it, he's good.
That is a black card. It's a
tragic slip.
And he is going to concede the game. That scared me for a moment there. I thought
it was
that
too,
was an Umbrella Rights. So Taylor Raffles is going to win game number 2 off of the back of some very brutal Falkenrath Aristocrats. So we will be playing a third game between these two players. See if we can get some updates as well as on our other matches across our brackets. So we do have Eric Jones playing Mono Red against Arlie Silver playing Green Red Aggro in our 2-7 matchup. Aaron LeBlanc, our number 1 seed, playing Naya Blitz against Zachary Kirby playing Esper. And our backup camera match, which I think we're going to have time to move over to.
For sure.
Edwin Beckwith playing Junk Deck versus Eric Klump. Or excuse me, playing Wolfrun Bant against Eric Klump playing Esper. So if we do have any results, we will certainly let you guys know, as I'm sure those players do have some fans at home.
Oh, for sure.
So we do find Beckwith and Klump still in game 1, unsurprisingly. Esper versus Wolfrun Bant. We could be here all night.
Yeah, it'll be a while. But that's fine because it was a quick tournament. The SCG staff was unbelievable this weekend, turning around about an hour and 5-minute rounds.
Yeah, as they always are. One of the nice things about playing in these tournaments is the turn time on the rounds is very, very quick. I mean, right now we are in the top 8 of the tournament. That did begin around 10:15 today. It's only 7:53, and we're going to be done with our top 8 in a couple hours here, depending on how long Beckwith versus Klump does go. I think that's the only thing that's going to decide the length of this top 8, but they always do a fantastic job. So a big shout out to our judges and everybody else who's attended this tournament. We do appreciate it.
And also for everyone that's out there watching all weekend. I mean, I know how entertaining Cedric is, but we thank you for sticking with us all day. And one other thing that I want to say is, I have a question for you, Cedric.
I got an answer for you,
You
Brad.
commentate all the time. Do you get the itch at the end of these to just play Magic?
I do go home and game a little bit when I get done.
Because, yeah, every break I have, and when we get done, I just have to go in Moto.
Yeah, if I can keep my eyes open when I'm done for the day, I do try to go game. As we do have a quick result here, Edwin Beckwith did win game number 1 with Wolfrun Bant against Eric Klump playing Esper, so maybe these two are in for a marathon affair. especially after sideboard. Things certainly do change then when you do have Jace Memory Adepts coming in, milling each other for 10, and other things like that. So the sideboard games are typically faster than Game 1, but Game 1 is normally a grindy affair.
When both decks have limited creatures, multiple removal spells, and 4 Sphinx's revs, and no real way to fight mirrors, It's miserable.
Those games can get a little bit grindy. Lucky for those guys, they are untimed right now.
Yeah, it's actually one of the reasons I've never been a fan of control decks once Sphinx's Revelation came out, because the game ones seem so bad, and we see so many draws. Like, if you look at, like, in round 3 at the 1-1 or 101 bracket, it's just littered with control decks playing more control decks. So if you ever get there, it's just, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, it's just a battle of Revelation decks, and, we see in the Open Series and we see in other tournaments as well players who, are very adept at casting Sphinx of Revelation. I know that I've watched Reduke play, Sphinx of Revelation decks quite a bit, especially in the back end of last year, and he's not messing around when he plays that band deck. He knows what he's trying to accomplish in all stages of the game, and that's always a pleasure to watch when they know what they're doing with their Sphinx of Revelation decks. They know that time is almost the enemy, starting with 50 minutes, so got to get those matches over with, but not a problem for the Duke.
No, and Duke was bred the same way I was. When you play Magic Online straight for a couple of years, your play is crisp. You know your decisions, and that's what you can see from him. It's just play fast, play quick, always the correct decision, always knows what he wants and what he's going to get. Yeah, and he's in it right now. My time has come and gone. I like where I'm at right now, but he's in the middle of it.
Yeah, Reed
doing amazing.
One of the top players on all circuits right now. So hopefully we'll get to see him next week and defend his crown at the Invitational in Atlanta.
Well, I want to see him. I don't want him to defend it.
Yeah. And I think he'll probably be casting Sphinx of Revelation in some form. He is a big fan of Jund right now, though, so maybe we'll see him casting Thragtusk and Olivia's next weekend in Atlanta. Almost certainly will not be playing a deck like Naya Blitz. Not his speed.
No.
It'll be a little too fast for Reed.
What would he do with that 40 minutes?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Simply too quick. He likes to take his opponents. Likes to whittle them down bit by bit.
Take it slow.
We do see both players reviewing each other's sideboards. Again, and when you're in the top 8, you are working with what can be considered perfect information, giving each other the deck list here, so they can look to see how people are going to be sideboarding against them, what the players' options are, what their main decks look like, so we can actually see how the matchup would, play out most honestly.
And Aristocrats is not as fast as a Blitz deck, but it does have lines that are much more powerful in the play compared to the draw. So I can see both decks manipulating their decks because of that. Yeah. It's very difficult to deal with these 5/5s on the draw, but if that's the draw your opponent has while you're on the play, you still can get under them with an Umbrella Rights.
So we will have Cannon Mead on the play for game number 3 here in our quarterfinal matchup between Mead and Raflowitz, the Junk Reanimator deck versus the Aristocrats. See if Mead can actually, not stumble on mana for once. He's had some mana issues in both games so far. And this is a deck, again, when you do have Mulch and Grizzly Salvage and those mana accelerants in combination with 23 land, mana normally not much of an issue for the Junk Reanimator deck.
No.
But in these 2 games, that has been the case so far.
Well, it's a hungry deck that you have spells that cost 2 and 3, but they don't do a ton. And then you get up to 5 drops. Umbrella Rights is the only 4 drop if you milled one over. Yeah. So sometimes you have this barren wasteland of 3 and 4 drops until you finally get to 5 mana, and that's where you see decks stumble. They just don't have a really good curve that puts things onto the board.
So let's see if Taylor can actually get off to a pretty quick start as well. Again, he has not had one of those Champion of the Parish draws that we have seen from the Aristocrats in the past, just one of those more aggressive draws. Again, this deck can play, as you said yesterday, it's a little bit schizophrenic.
Yeah.
It does have some defensive draws. It does have Scourge Deck High Priest draws, as we did see during game number 1. And it can have a hyper-aggressive draw as well with Champion of the Parish into Cartel Aristocrat and a Silverblade Paladin. So it's capable of a lot of different things. That's what makes the deck pretty powerful.
Yes, it has unlimited options. Your opponent never really knows what you're going to be doing. We see Cannon taking a mulligan. Not the worst thing to do with a junk deck. A lot of them are aggressive. I'm comfortable with 6 cards.
Okay. Call that a snap mulligan. That was one of the faster mulligans I've seen.
Well,
you see Taylor in the tank right now.
Cannon's swift. He's fast.
Yeah. It looks like Taylor is going to keep. Looks like he's in pain keeping his hand.
All right.
Maybe this is just the big bluff.
The big.
Yeah, my hand's just perfect. I'm agonizing over nothing.
Well, I remember days that you could do that and it would be beneficial. Yeah. But Hollywooding is not worth it anymore. It's like we're all just casting Burning Tree Emissaries, Mulches. Augur of a Bolus is like, there's no Hollywood anymore. There's no turn 2 Blood Moons. Like,
I guess I'll keep.
Yeah.
Perfect hand, your turn.
Yeah, when games went to turn 14 and there was 13 turns of interacting, sure, you can do that. Opponent of mine did that the other day, and I was like, come on, really? Like, you're playing Simic and limited. Like, either you curve me or not. Like, there's no decisions.
All right, so again, Cannon will be taking a mulligan to at least 6 cards, and again, this Junk Reanimator deck is a deck that does mulligan relatively well because of Grizzly Salvage and Mulch, and cards like that are able to undo mulligans fairly easily, and you still can just oops, I win into a turn 4 Angel of Serenity off on Barrow Rights. Things can line up that way. That's one of the many reasons that this deck is so powerful.
Mm-hmm. All right, Cannon takes his draw.
5 and 6. Let's see what the Florida Gator fan can find.
We pretty much just want a couple lands and every card printed in Innistrad in his deck.
He's happy. And
Right,
there's
one.
There's an Innistrad Comet in Avacyn's Pilgrim. So he's off to a pretty good start. We're going to see that name human and Champion of the Parish. So Taylor's start is ideal here. Angel Serenity the draw step, and we are going to see Cannon follow it up with a Loxodon Smiter.
Return to Ravnica wasn't that bad either.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to see Sacred Foundry. He's going to play that tap. We're going to follow that up with another Champion of Paris. So this is an aggressive draw. You just got to find a way to get through that Smiter.
Yeah. A couple turns, I think he'll be able to find a way. Abrupt Decay could really blow out a Silverblade Paladin this next turn. Some play that I thought Ken was going to do last game, just take some damage and then Abrupt Decay.
Yeah. And when we do see Isolated Chapel come in here, and we do see Silverblade Paladin, you also see a Knight of Infamy, the card drawn for Taylor. You also see him thumbing past that Zealous Conscripts and an Orzhov Charm to go along with a Cartel Aristocrat. So a lot of options here for him.
His hand is very good right now, and here... Alright, this is the play that looks like it'll deal the most damage, but it is going to let him get a 2-for-1, something Cannon really needs, being down a card without Grizzly Salvage, without Mulch, with Angel Serenity in hand.
And you do see Taylor, he plays that, and he's considering quite a few things. You know, do I want to pair? Do I not want to pair? Do I even want to attack this turn? What do I want to do? Because I can definitely run into something that just blows me right out of the water, and especially with the knowledge that he does have Abrupt Decays in his sideboard from looking at the deck list and having it happen.
Attacks.
So we do see this 2/2 champion come in here, and he said, all right, I'm going to block, and Abrupt Decay is going to take care of that.
Yeah, and a big 2-for-1 for Cannon.
Yep. So, Mead's going to untap. He's going to draw. You see Overgrown Tomb over there.
With a Tragic Slip.
And he does just pass the turn back. Falkenrath Aristocrat, the draw step here for Taylor, but it doesn't look like he has a 4th land. I'm going to follow that up with a Knight of Infamy. Going to pump that champion up to a 4/4. 5/5 from Exalted, so here we go. And as we do see this attack take place, quick results for you guys as well. We do have Aaron LeBlanc with Blitz, Naya Blitz, of course, winning 2-1 over Zachary Kirby
what
playing
did you say?
Esper.
Blitz?
I did say
Is
Naya,
that the word?
Naya Blitz did win, and we do see Eric Jones playing Mono Red. It defeats Arlie Silver 2-0. So we're going to have Mono Red moving on to the quarterfinals to play against the winner of Wolf Run Bant by Edwin Beckwith and Eric Klump playing Esper, and we'll see Aaron LeBlanc, our #1 seed, who has not lost this week when we're playing the winner of this match between Taylor Raflowitz and Cannon Mead.
So I can't have a junk Blitz finals?
I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
Alright, so before Taylor's able to get the Exalted trigger, Cannon's going to try Tragic Slip, but I think there's a confusion.
Yeah, we'll see exactly what's going to happen. We're probably getting some things cleared up with our spotter as far as announcing the Exalted trigger, maybe a couple of different things. We'll get confirmation on exactly what's happening here, so it looks like he's going to chump block there. And now you're going to see Tragic Slip take care of the Knight of Infamy.
So what just happened? Why?
So it looked like maybe he wanted to maybe Tragic Slip that before the before the attack step. He may have green-lighted the attack step, so the Exalted trigger was already put on the stack. This is going to make it a 5/5. So
I mean, he could have just not taken the damage, just taken it.
yeah, maybe he panicked a little bit there,
Yeah.
and now he's going to be wishing he had Tragic Slip, as you're going to see a Falkenrath Aristocrat come across in the sky along with a 4/4 on the ground.
Yeah.
And let's see if Cannon's able to draw a White Source. He does, and now we see
yeah.
Angel Serenity again attempting to save the day. So it's going to take down that Falkenrath Aristocrat, that Champion of the Parish, and it's going to bring Loxodon Smiter back from Cannon's graveyard. He's out of cards. Taylor has plenty, But he's got to prove that he can actually beat an Angel of Serenity, something he cannot do game 1.
Well, he does have an Orso Charm and a healthy life total, as well as a Cartel Aristocrat and a Zealous Conscripts, and that can set up another big play if Cannon's able to top deck and unbarrel rights.
So you see Taylor going through some things here. You see Cartel Aristocrat join the fray. He does have Orzhov Charm. He does have Zealous Conscripts in his hand, cards that he can unload. But now he's hoping that his opponent does not draw more Angel of Serenity. So now you see Cannon getting right into the red zone and a Thragtusk off the top.
Ooh, that's a big one.
So he's going to push himself up to 17. And as good as that draw is, Brad, Zealous Conscripts in Taylor's hand does mean that he can take that and he can actually sack it to the Cartel Aristocrat. You're going to see Orzhov Charm take care of this Angel of Serenity. Some cards are going to get pushed back and forth. Smiter goes back to Cannon's hand, and now Taylor's going to untap.
Yeah, and Taylor loses a healthy life total, but he did just draw another Zealous Conscripts.
So Zealous Conscript's going to take the Thragtusk in with the entire gang, and we're going to see that Thragtusk get sacrificed after combat to that Cartel Aristocrat. So Taylor will be the one getting the Beast Token, not Cannon.
So Cannon's deciding if he wants to chump block with his Avacyn's Pilgrim.
And he is going to jump in front of his own Thragtusk. As we do know, of course, as you're going to see the sacrifice there of the Cartel Aristocrat, Taylor going to get himself a Beast Token. That Cannon's last card in his hand is that Loxodon Smiter coming back from the Angel Serenity. So Cannon will untap. He will draw. See if he can find it on Burial Rights. He does not. He finds a Sever the Bloodline.
That Sever can help him for a turn. He doesn't have enough mana to play both because he did block that 5 damage. And he has to just pick one spell, knowing that there's a Falconwrath Aristocrat in Taylor's hand, knowing there's a Champion of Perish as well.
So now we do see just a Loxodon Smiter. Taylor going to quickly untap here, and if he does have another copy of Zealous Conscripts, which he does, that's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. That'll be a lethal attack. He just does have to worry about what is that last card in Cannon's hand, as we have seen Cannon, hold on to those Abrupt Decays.
I still feel like that's just, if you have lethal and your opponent had to top deck 1 card and it only costs 3, just go for it.
We're going to see Champion of the Parish grabs a safer line, and now we're going to see Falconwrath Aristocrat in the air. And now here comes everybody. You see, of the biggest creatures, let's say that Smiter gets in front of that Beast Token, you'll see 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage come across here. So,
yeah, this Champion of the Parish was played pre-combat just to protect that Cartel. That's what he would sack if the Loxodon Smiter jumped in front of Aristocrat. Or, sorry, Cartel Aristocrat.
Also giving access to sacrifice either Aristocrat. Give Cartel protection from a color, perhaps give Falconwrath indestructibility and a +1/+1 counter, putting Cannon in a difficult spot here. Loxodon Smiter can stand tall for a combat, but will it be enough?
Yeah, putting from the Beast means that if you put him from the Zealous Conscripts, he would be able to sack that since he can die anyway and deal an extra damage.
So you do see the damage will resolve. You'll see 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage gets pushed through. Champion of the Parish, only thing on defense here for Taylor, and let's see what Cannon's able to draw. Is it on Burial Rights for the Angel of Serenity? He untaps, he draws. You see Sever, and I think we see another land, perhaps?
Yeah, it is a Cavern of Souls.
And with Taylor at 7 life, I don't think, as we're going to see Sever the Bloodline take care of the Falconwrath Aristocrat, I do not believe that Mead's going to be able to do it. You see, Taylor does sacrifice the Aristocrat to the Aristocrat. He quickly untaps. He draws his card. He's going to cast Zealous Conscripts, take that Smiter, and we are going to see a concession. Taylor Rafowitz wins 2-1 with the Aristocrats. Our only Junk Reanimator player is out of the top 8 in Cannon Mead, and that means that we are going to